Hey, hey, hey.
Busy week.
Bzz, bzz,
I'm
bzz,
telling you,
bzz.
it's been crazy, but it's good crazy.
Yeah, for
Always
sure.
good. Yeah, it's always good. And
Yeah,
things.
so Q&A this week.
Yeah,
Always look forward to this one just because, it helps us make sure that we're asking or answering the right questions, rather, the questions that people want to hear about it and, staying relevant. So I think we've got a few good ones this week.
Oh yeah. So you want to just jump in?
I say let's tackle them.
Okay, because we have a few.
Yeah.
So here's the first one. In your opinion, now this could be a long answer when you ask our opinions. So I just wanted to, I want to preface that.
Yeah. Be careful what you ask for.
Exactly. What is the number one thing service companies should be doing in marketing that they are not doing?
Wow.
It's a big one.
Yeah, it really is. Well, and I'm sure you and I both will have answers, and they may not be the same answer. Um, Mine is, I'm going to answer this just because this is what I'm seeing a lot of right now,
Hmm.
because this is where so many of our clients are having a need. The phones have slowed down. It's not, their busy season. People aren't looking for what they do, and they're trying to figure out how to get in front of their existing clients to shake the bushes to get some work going.
Yeah.
And it can be very difficult to do if they haven't been priming that pump all along, staying in front of their customers all along. So, and I don't see a lot of customers doing a really good job with email campaigns. And so that's what I want to focus on as my
Okay.
answer, because right now that's the opinion I'm feeling pretty.
Gotcha. Yeah.
There's so much I could do to help some of these customers if they had good lists, if those lists were well seasoned and accustomed to receiving emails on a regular basis from the business. We could jump in with some things and immediately get revenue turned on for them. But because there's not good lists in place, it sometimes can take 3 weeks for some businesses to go through all of their records, pull email addresses, sort those email addresses, look for duplicates, look for all of the problems and things, and then get it to me so that we can then verify those email addresses before sending. And then, because it's a brand new list, it's one that I say brand new, it's brand new to us. It's brand new in the sense that none of the people on that list are getting regular emails from that business. We have to turn it up really slowly. It's like
Yeah.
bringing a pot of water to a boil, but not doing it too quickly because it'll splash out and get everywhere. So
So
uh,
explain that a little bit because a lot of people don't understand why they just can't, just pull their list, get the message out, and then just boom, hit them all.
yeah, so we could do a whole topic on email and um, sending scores and things like that. But essentially, what it comes down to is your ability to get in front of your customer is is going to be determined by other factors outside of your control. So those things are number one, the email service providers, right? The big email service providers like Gmail, like Yahoo, like Hotmail, like Outlook, et cetera, AOL, even, the list goes on. They all look at emails coming in, and they can immediately tell that this is bulk email, right? Uh,
Mhm.
because of the way that it's being sent. If suddenly the uh, Gmail servers are getting 5, 6, 7 of the exact same email from the exact same address, and it's the first time they've ever seen this address, sending bulk emails, then little flags go up in the Gmail system. And if anyone that has a Gmail address marks it as spam, or if
Mhm.
not enough people open the email and engage with it and just simply delete it, then all of that harms your what's called the email sender score. For that email address, it's basically Gmail and Yahoo, and they all get together and share this information. By the way, um, that email address gets on a list that basically says this is a very low quality email sender, because nobody is interacting with their emails when they send them. or the only interaction they're getting are people marking it as spam. So when that happens, then they can just start refusing to even deliver your email to users of their service and putting it in their customers' inboxes. So that means that now you're sending out potentially thousands of emails to Gmail users, and Gmail is just refusing every one of them at the gate and saying, nope, 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 not letting that one in, nope, and just refusing it. So it can become a real problem. So the way to overcome that is to, when you have a really clean list, people who are used to receiving emails from you and are appreciative of those emails, they open them, they engage with them, it's good content, they want that content, then your email sender score goes up, up, up. And now anything that you send to users of these email service providers, is allowed in, unless there's proven to be some abuse of it, then you're good. You're golden. Your emails are going to be delivered and placed in their inbox, and that's exactly what you want. So if you do it too quickly, if you send too fast, then you're going to end up with a situation where too many blocks too quickly, too many spam complaints too quickly, too many unopened emails too quickly, and you run the risk of getting into that bad sender score territory. So we always have to turn it up slowly, which means dripping them out at a painfully slow pace. While we know the business needs business, we're dripping out sometimes, 10, 20 every hour, and we're only doing it for 4 to 5 hours a day, and slowly turning up the heat. So if you've got somebody with a list that's 10,000 people, they haven't sent emails to in 6 or 8 years. It's just not uncommon. I mean, I'm telling you, real situation right now. That's kind of the situation is we can't burn your email address. We can't make it so that other legitimate emails like appointment reminders and late invoice payment reminders or estimates or those kinds of important things could stop getting delivered as well. If you're using that same email address. So we have to manage this very carefully. So that to me is like the number one thing that businesses should be doing that I don't see them doing. It's a very long answer, and I'm sorry for that, but I felt like I needed to explain it all.
No, I think that's good. I've got a couple of questions, kind of a follow-up questions on that. The first one is, if that happens to you, does the email clients, Google, Yahoo, Microsoft, do they notify you and tell you that you've been banned?
Nope.
Okay.
They're under no responsibility to do that. Some of them may.
Yeah. So you could just be sending out emails like crazy and not getting any business and not knowing why. And it could be because your emails aren't getting sent.
You would have to do a little bit of research. Yes. Yeah. If you weren't doing the research, if you weren't using a system that was giving you some reporting back about, your emails, the emails that you're sending, the campaign that you're sending, about how many opens, how many refusals, how many complaints, and all of those things. And if you see that somebody did complain, a spam complaint, some systems, not all, but some will allow you to click into that complaint and read exactly what the email sender or the email service provider is saying about the spam complaint that they received from one of their users. And that can help you diagnose some things. It can help you start to discover what the things are that the email service provider is, pushing back against or saying is being done incorrectly, so that you can work with them to try to get that email sender score improved, and they will work with you. It's not that they're just mean, cruel people that want to block all the emails. They want legitimate emails to get through to their users, because they assume that legitimate emails are the kinds of emails their users actually want in their inbox. Yeah. So they're under. I mean, they're not just being mean. This is a real concern, but spam is such a problem that they have to be aggressive in terms of responding to spam complaints and preventing them with other users who are receiving emails from your address.
So mine kind of piggybacks on yours, because I think the number one thing that they ought to be doing is actually gathering first-party data. and I don't see them doing that, and so, they rely on their list of being just people who've done business with them. So they're not making any kind of outreach, or there's no kind of incentive for somebody to sign up for your newsletter or a giveaway or something to where you've got, people who are looking for what you do, that you give away something that makes sense as to when they hit your website that they want, and then at that point, then you can start marketing to them. And that's first party data. And again, the first thing you have to do is get permission to market to them, but you have to market to them, which is, to your point, people aren't using their lists to market. And so their list gets old, it gets cold, and then now you got bigger problems.
Yeah.
So, yeah. Okay. Well, that's good. All right. All right. Well, this one is another one that came in. I thought was interesting. What does all the talk of privacy online mean for a small business? So I'm going to take the first stab at this, and I'm sure you'll have a lot more than what I have to say on this because you deal with this. So privacy is a really big thing. If you guys aren't paying attention, they're doing a lot of stuff in Europe. There's a lot of fines going on, a lot of, it's just all over the place because they are trying to protect the consumer. Here in the U.S., we've always said, "Oh yeah, just don't worry about it. Don't worry about it. Don't worry about it." Well, you got to start worrying about it. And
yeah, there's a lot of activity happening with states in the U.S.
Yeah, right now with states and also with federal. I read just this morning that Lindsey Graham and Elizabeth Warren are teaming up to do some stuff with tech companies, and part of what they're talking about is privacy. So that's going to run downhill. You'll need to check and see what kind of privacy restrictions or laws that has been put in place in the state you're in. That's the first thing. But there's just a whole lot about privacy and what needs to happen around privacy. So what I would say is this: for a small business, the very first thing you need to do is first party data, get double opt-in. At that point, find out, do they want to be communicated with via email or text? Have all that on record. So you have that so that your customers know that their privacy is being dealt with. If you take credit cards, you need to make sure everything is PCMI compliant. A lot of the carts that you use already are, but don't assume, is what I would say. Is make sure that you've got any kind of payment that you take locked down. Those are the things that I would say off the bat. Because it's not like a federal thing right now, it's really difficult to have a conversation around what's going on because there's so many states out there that have different things going on.
And they're all slightly different. And, this can relate to as well. If this probably isn't many of our customers, but some of our customers or some of our clients do business in multiple states. And so being aware of the laws of the states where you operate is, going to become even more crucial. Right now, there's 9 states, and just read them off. I pulled them up while we were talking: California, Virginia, Connecticut, Colorado, Utah, Iowa, Indiana, Tennessee, and Montana. So we have to understand what the laws are in those states, but it's anticipated that those 9 could double just here in the next 2-year election cycle. So this is a hot topic for lawmakers. Consumers want this. And until federal law comes in and supersedes all of these states with their own policy for federal privacy and consumer data protection, then the states are you have to understand every state that you do business in and how to comply. So that means that someone in your business needs to be your compliance officer, just appointed as the person that any request from any of your customers that comes in that says, I want to know what information you have about me, and that compliance officer needs to know how to get that information, where that information is stored, and then to be able to provide it in a secure way, to be able to validate the request that the person who's asking for that information is indeed the person that's it's the right person. You're not giving out someone else's information to a third party. So validating and then delivering that information securely for them to see. And then if there's a step where that consumer says, I don't want you to continue maintaining this information for me, please delete this information, then that data officer needs to be able to understand exactly how to do that. And see, it gets complicated because it's not just what's in QuickBooks, right? Mm-hmm. It's what's in a whole bunch of different software, and maybe even with vendors that you work with, right? I mean, as a marketing company, we're privy to a lot of consumer data that is provided by our customers. And so we have to cooperate with the person who's been appointed as the data manager for that company. If there is a request, we need to be able to provide what information we have on our end in our systems about their customers. So it's a complicated situation, but it's becoming more and more prevalent. And I think we need to expect that, in the very short term, we'll be looking at a federal overarching law.
So I just want to tag on with two things. One is we have had one request of somebody that not only wanted us to eliminate all their data from our database, but they wanted us to eliminate everything we've done online. And I had to tell them what that was going to do to their listings. I mean, you're talking about eliminating your Google listing, your map, all the listings that you have out there, everywhere that we've gone, and we keep records of that. So, we're okay, but everywhere that we put everything. But here's the other thing. There's scrapers out there that will scrape information and just go put stuff places, and I can't be responsible for those things because we didn't put them there.
Right.
But once I explained what was going to happen, they quickly said, oh, wait. We're not going out of business. We just wanted our information protected and, blah, blah, blah. So I had to explain to them some things that we do, and they were fine. But one of the things I will tell you, the biggest complaint that we get when it comes to data is this. You should have my credit card. Why do I have to give you my credit card again? Well, what you don't understand is we are compliance. So we pull up something that needs your credit card. Google AdWords is a really good example. We have that up. We take your credit card right there. It goes to Google. We don't write it anywhere else. And even in our system, our system doesn't give us privy to your credit card. We get the last 4 or 5 digits.
4 digits, yeah.
Yeah, I think yeah. And so that's all we see. So we don't see the real pertinent part of the beginning of your credit card. And we certainly don't see, when it's expired and all the other stuff. So if you're working with a company that keeps your credit card information, they're not in compliance. I guarantee you that, because that's a big deal. The credit card stuff is huge, huge, huge.
Well, it could be that they are in compliance, but I haven't seen any that are that aren't, large multi-state corporations that, have data officers and PCI compliance, committees and everything else, because it is such a sticky wicket, and it's requires a lot of proof that you're taking that information and storing it and handling it and transmitting it properly. So much to be said about keeping your customers' financial information in the clear somewhere on a computer or in written documents in your business.
Yeah, so just know if people keep needing your credit card, that's why. just saying.
Yep.
This is kind of off the email question. Should I set up a domain email, or is it okay to just use my Gmail address for business?
Yeah, this is another one I was asked recently, and again, because I'm dealing with a lot of email situations with our clients, so that's the reason that these are coming in. But this is to me, there's nothing less professional than a company who is using a Gmail address as their official company email address. Would I not do business with them because they're doing that? No, of course not. I would still do it. But in my head, I'd be thinking, if this guy can't be bothered to officialize his business in a way that to use email that's his own domain name, his own company, domain, if those kinds of details are not important to him because he's moving too fast, then what else is he going to miss when he does the job for me? I mean, that's just how my brain works. To me, really, there's several reasons why I think it's necessary. The first of them is the one I mentioned, its appearance. The other legitimate reasons that you need to be thinking about using domain email instead of a personal Gmail is for all of the other things that we've been talking about in terms of email sending score. You're relying on email that's in a system that's free that could radically change your ability to do what you do and to conduct your business using that email address, and not have any responsibility to you whatsoever for, you have no recourse. In other words, you're just playing with a free email address. You're running your entire business on something that's free, and free gets taken away sometimes. So you don't have recourse if you've been blacklisted. They'll just shut your email off, right? You don't have control over whether you get blacklisted. It may be unfair. It could be that one of your competitors is just taking up the campaign to blacklist your email address and keep you from being able to do business under it, just out of meanness. You don't have any control over that. And if it happens, then Gmail doesn't care. Gmail's like, well, we gave them this free email address and now they're blacklisted. Let's just shut it off and they won't even have access to it anymore. I mean, not just shut it off to where you can't send email. I mean, shut it off so you can't log in. You can't see the emails that customers have already sent you. You have no records of what has been communicated with your clients via email because you got blacklisted and shut down. Now, you don't have those liabilities if you're using domain email, okay? You are in much more control. Could you still get blacklisted? Absolutely, but you have some recourse. You have some abilities to control those things in a much better way. Just like your website, we don't recommend that you go to like Google Business Profile and use their free website as your primary website for your business. We recommend that you get a domain name and you put up a site that's legitimate because that's the center of your universe and you should control that as a business. You should absolutely control that. And the same is true for the email address as well. Use the same domain as your website and give the people in your business that need it their own email address underneath that. Does it cost money? Yeah, it does. But, look, if that's the only reason you're not doing it, you're being so short-sighted. And I'm just going to tell you, it's not worth getting taken down and your business being literally ground to a halt because you have no recourse and no access to the email that you were using to run your business. There's just no excuse for that.
Yeah, and here's the thing. When people think, well, that's going to never happen to me. So I'm going to tell a really quick story, and I mean quick. We were getting this has probably been 10 years ago. We were getting hacked quite a bit, and we decided that we were going to move to a different service. So we did. We moved everybody to different service. It was way more expensive than what we were. And so we raised prices because of that. And so I had somebody that just said, no, I don't want to be on there. Just leave me where we are. I'm not going to get hacked. Nobody cares about me. It's about 3 or 4 months later, guess what happened? He got hacked. And I told him, I said, if this happens to you, we're not cleaning it up because that's why we're moving. We're spending way too much time doing cleanup on hack sites when we need to be working on other things. And he's like, yep, I'll take that liability. Well, let me tell you, he paid for us to clean it up and he got moved to that new server and he's still with us. So,
well, and he's saving money on the more expensive server because of what it costs us to clean up his mess.
Yes. So people have no idea when they say, well, it's just never going to happen to me. And they save pound foolish, penny wise, pound foolish, something like that. Yeah.
Yeah. It's bending over $1 to pick up a penny.
Yeah.
Or a dime, whatever the saying is.
I have no idea.
I think it used to be like bending over a penny to pick up a quarter, or no, bending over a quarter to pick up a penny, something like that. Anyway.
Yeah, but who even knows what pennies look like these days? So I'm sending out an email blast. How far back can I go with past customers? We get this a lot.
Yep. again, another email question. So the way that the laws are structured, and this is law that in the United States protects consumers from receiving unwanted emails. It's called the CAN-SPAM Act. It's been around for a decade or longer, maybe even 2 decades by now. I'm not real sure. Certainly, yeah, 2 decades. But anyway, the law is very clear about what you have a right to do as a business when you're conducting communication with consumers that have done business with you in the past. So these would be people that that you're sending marketing messages to, right? Transactional email is different than marketing email. Transactional email is always around the transaction that is occurring right now, right? They have already contacted me to schedule an appointment. I'm sending a reminder. I'm sending an invoice. I'm sending a payment link. I'm sending a brochure that was requested. I'm sending, information about, whatever. So those are all transactional. Promotional email is, hey, we haven't heard from you in a long time. Here's 30% off if you do your job, between now and September 1st, right? That's a special offer. It's considered marketing email. Okay, so that's what CAN-SPAM is really truly protecting people from the abuse of that. So you have a right to reach out to customers who, as far as transactional email, that you've done business with in the past 18 months. And that doesn't require them to opt in or anything. That's transactional email, okay? If it's marketing email, you should have a record of them opting in and saying, yes, I'd like to receive special offers from you. Special offers or non-transactional communications is another way that gets put sometimes. So if you don't have a record of that, then you're in a gray area, okay, already, because you don't have official checkbox next to their name in your records that says this person checked the box in a form or online or told us, at a specific time that they wanted these kinds of emails or communications. So long story short, you're in a gray area there. If you choose to go ahead and send, I would follow the rules that are set for the transactional emails, which is 18 months. So I wouldn't go further back than 18 months. What we see, and generally this is a pretty good rule of thumb, because if you go back further than that, you go back 3 or 4 years. I've seen customers want to go back 10 years. That list is junk. I mean, people, get new email addresses all the time. They leave other email addresses. Those old email addresses then get picked up by the email service providers and as honeypots, okay, which are essentially dead-end website or dead-end email addresses that still receive email, but the only reason they receive that email is to be able to tell who is spamming and sending emails that shouldn't be sending emails to our servers. All right, so that kind of stuff happens. So you probably got a lot of honeypots on your list. You've got old customers who have moved, and they're going to ding you with a spam complaint because, I moved 4 years ago and haven't heard from you guys. Take me off your list, and they'll mark it as spam too. So that kind of stuff, if it's older, if you haven't been sending regular emails and maintaining a good list, I would not go back any further than 18 months, period.
Yeah, that's really good advice. And we had another question, but I just eliminated it because we're out of time. We're right at 30 minutes, and I don't want to beat a dead horse. No, because a lot of the questions you and I both have received in the last month really have been around communication, email, text, and I would say texting follow the same kind of rules that you do with email.
They're even more strict. With regard to
really is. Yeah. The other thing too that I think is really, really important, and just think about this: if it was you, and nobody asked you how you wanted to be communicated with, and you kept getting email after email or text after text, And that's not the way you wanted it. You'd rather somebody pick up a phone and call you, or, whatever it is. It's really, really important to communicate with people the way that they want to be communicated with. I mean, it really, really is. And more people are choosing text. And I know why. I mean, that's the way I like to be communicated with, because I don't have to pick up the phone right now. Because a lot of times I'm in meetings, I'm doing things, but if somebody texts me and I know they need me, then I can very quickly say, I'll call you as soon as I can. And then, I can do that, or text you back as soon as I can, or whatever. So those are just common sense things to remember.
We do a lot of call tracking for our clients, and I go through and periodically spot check just to, listen to recordings of our clients interacting with their customers and listening to voicemails, mainly to make sure that our system continues to function properly, but also to provide advice to our clients who have asked for it about what they might be able to do with their CSRs to improve their booking rates. But one of the things that I constantly see with voicemails that I listen to is a customer who says, well, I was going to talk to you on the phone, but since I didn't get a hold of you, you can text me back at this number. Please don't call. I will not answer. You must text me first, and then from there we can connect on the phone. That's a very common way that people now filter out phone calls from unknown numbers, is to use a text that identifies the purpose of the communication. So, if you're not texting, if you don't have a way to text with customers, you're really missing out, and you could be frustrating customers who really have that expectation of a modern service company.
Yeah. Man, good stuff.
Yeah.
Really good stuff. And thanks, Linda. Linda and Chuck are on here, and so is Terry. I tell you what, I don't know why we don't have more people on here. We're gonna have to market this a little bit more, I think, and get more people on here. I know we show up, we don't think about it because we're working for everybody else. So we're kind of like the mechanic that has all the broken cars in his yard.
So a marketing company that doesn't market itself well.
It doesn't market itself well. Yeah, that happens. Anyway, Spark Live is also released as a podcast on Spotify, iTunes, Google Play, Podvine, or your favorite player. And with that, I do want to say we get picked up as a podcast quite a bit. So
we've got a lot of people that listen after.
Yeah, they listen on podcasts and stuff. So it's really not as bad as it always seems. Anyway, next week's show is going to be great. We're going to talk about setting up and optimizing your Google business profile. We see a lot of people that set them up, but they do not optimize them properly. And so we are going to spend an entire 30 minutes talking about how to do that and do that correctly. So, and there's some new things with Google Business Profile as well. We may talk Aaron into coming on and seeing if he could talk to us a little bit about that. So that'll be fun. If I can talk him into it, it depends. He's got 3 little kids, so depends on how wild they are that day. If we could do that. So that's great. Really always appreciate you guys so much. Terry, thank you. I'm glad you've learned at least. I like this. I've learned at least one thing every week. So that's great. That makes my day. If everybody could learn just one thing, that would be fantastic. You do it for 50 some odd weeks and you learn 50 some odd new things. I mean, that's a great thing. Anyway, we'll see you guys next week. Have a great weekend. We'll talk soon.
Bye, everyone.